Hello viewers, my dear student, welcome to online course on Mathematics 3 for engineering student. Myself Sanjay Vishwas, Assistant Professor of Mathematics, Applied Science and Humanities Department of Guru Nanak Institute of Technology. Here is the details of my contact information. If we have facing any difficulty regarding my online course, you can call me freely or send message with my mail ID sanjay.vishwas@gnit.ac.in. So the paper name of this course is Mathematics 3 and paper code is M301. Today we are going to talk about the complex integration, that means Cauchy's theorem and Cauchy-Borchardt theorem on complex integration. This is my 5th lecture on online course. So here is the content of today's lecture. So before we start today's lecture, so let's quickly recall the previous class. I have already discussed curve representation in complex plane. Then I have discussed some basic definition in complex plane, that is a simple curve, closed curve, piecewise smooth curve. After that, I have discussed Riemann integration on complex plane and some theorem and example on Riemann definition of complex plane. But today we are looking for the Cauchy's theorem and Cauchy-Borchardt theorem. So here is the content of today's lecture. So first we will talk about the Green's theorem. That is a statement of Green's theorem, only statement in plane. After that, we will talk about state and proof of Cauchy's theorem, and then the advanced part of Cauchy's theorem, and this is actually the Cauchy-Borchardt theorem I will talk about. And after that, I will give some consequence of Cauchy's theorem and some related example of Cauchy's theorem as well as Cauchy-Borchardt theorem. Let's start with the Green's theorem. So let here m and n be two continuous function and their shell derivatives are all continuous in a region R bounded by the closed curve C. Then integration over C, close integration over C, m dx plus n dy, and it will be double integration over R del n del x minus del m del y into dx dy. So this is the mathematical expression of Green's theorem. Integration over C m dx plus integration over m dx plus n dy is equal to double integration over R del n del x minus del m del y into dx dy, where m and n both function are continuous as well as their partial differentiation are all continuous in a region R, and it is bounded by the closed curve C. Okay, next we are going to talk about the Cauchy's theorem. So here is the Cauchy's theorem, statement of Cauchy's theorem. Let f of z be analytic function and f dash z is continuous at each point within the domain D, and D is bounded by the closed contour C. Then the integration over C f z dz is equal to 0. This is the definition of Cauchy's theorem. So in that case, function f of z is analytic, and as well as f dash z is continuous. Okay, so next we are going to talk about the proof of this theorem. So here is the proof. So let f of z is equal to u of x comma y plus I into b of x comma y. This is the complex function and in the Argand plane. So in the statement of Cauchy's theorem, where the function f of z is analytic as well as the f dash z is continuous. So now if f of z is analytic function, so you know, I have already mentioned in the second lecture, where the function is analytic, then it satisfies the Cauchy-Riemann equation as well as all the partial differentiation are exist. So by so here f of z is analytic, so that the Cauchy-Riemann equation or Cauchy-Riemann condition are satisfied, and the Cauchy-Riemann condition is del u del x is equal to del v del y. So the partial differentiation with respect to x for the function u is equals to partial differentiation with respect to y for the function v, as well as del u del y is equal to minus del v del x. Also f dash z is continuous. So you know, f dash z is a differential value of f of z, and f dash z is equal to, you know, del u del x. So this is the differentiation with respect to x. So and it will be del u del x plus I into del v del x. So now applying the Cauchy-Riemann equation, we'll get del u del x is equal to del v del y, and for del v del y we will put minus del u del y. So f dash z is either del u del x plus I into del v del x, or it will give del v del y minus I into del u del y. Okay, so u and v and their partial derivatives are all continuous within or on C. So this is the statement of the Green's theorem. So what is the statement of Green's theorem? In a Green's theorem where the both function are continuous as well as their partial derivatives are all continuous. Okay, so from that we have to find integration over C m dx plus n dy is equal to this double integration over r del n del x minus del m del y dx into dy. Okay, but here the Green's theorem is applied. So integration over C f dz is equal to, so here f z is equal to u plus I into v, you know, and dz is equal to dx plus I into dy. So integration over C f z dz is will gives integration over C u plus I v into dx plus I dy. So now separate the real and imaginary part of this function. We will get integration over C u dx minus v dy plus I into v dx plus u dy. Okay, so now separate these two parts or two integration. This is the properties of the integration, you know. So integration over C u dx minus v dy is the first part, and the second part is I into integration over C v dx plus u dy. Okay, so now we can apply the Green's theorem on both cases. We'll get, so integration over u dx minus v dy, and it will be del v del x minus del u del y into dx dy, and the second integration will give I into double integration over d del u del x minus del v del y into dx dy when we apply the Green's theorem. Now we apply the Cauchy-Riemann equation. We will get del v del x is equal to minus del u del y, that is del u del y minus del u del y. This is the first part, and a similar thing will happen on the second part. If we put del v del y is equal to minus del u del x. Okay, so in both cases we'll get the integral value are 0. So del u del y minus del u del y is 0, cancelling these two terms. Similarly, from this second integration we'll get the integral value is 0. So that is equals to 0. So hence the proof. Okay, next we are going to talk about the Cauchy-Borset theorem. So a famous mathematician, Borset, first established that the condition of continuity of f dash z is unnecessarily and provided the theorem without using the continuity of f dash z, and established a revised part or revised form of the Cauchy's theorem, and it is known as Cauchy's Borset theorem. So basically in a Cauchy's theorem we have seen that f of z is analytic function as well as f dash z is continuous. But in a Cauchy's Borset theorem, f dash z is unnecessarily term. So integration over c f z dz is equal to 0 will be found if f of z is only the analytic function. There is no f dash z will be continuous. There is some note on Cauchy's Borset theorem. The above theorem is obtained called Cauchy's theorem. Also, the above theorem is valid for both simple and multi-connected domain. So after that we are going to talk about some consequences of Cauchy's theorem. So the first theorem is, if f of z is analytic in a simple connected domain D, then the integral of f of z along any path joining any two points of D, and D is the domain on the complex plane, is same. That means say there are 2 points A and B, and there are 2 curves, say C1 and C2, and C1 and C2 two different paths, but the beginning point and end point are the same for 2 different paths. Then, and f of z is analytic, then for the different path the integral value are same. That is, integration over c1 f of z dz is equal to integration over c2 f z dz. Okay, where c1 c2 both are the curve in D and joining the 2 points, that means 2 same points. So A and B be 2 points, and say there are so many curves and where the beginning and end point are the same, and these curves are not necessarily equal, then integration over c1 f z dz is equal to integration over c2 f z dz is equal to integration over c3 f z dz. Okay, so all the integral value are same for the different path, but the beginning and end point are equal. This is the first theorem of Cauchy's theorem. So after that we'll talk about the second theorem. So second theorem is a very important for Cauchy's theorem. So let f of z be analytic function in the annular region bounded by 2 closed curves C1 and C2, where C2 is lies only within C1. That means say C1 be a curve and C1 be the bigger than C2, and C2 is lies within C1. Okay, so the integration, close integration over C1 f of z, the value of close integration of C1 f of z dz is equal to close integration over C2 f z dz. So this value are same. So say C1 be a curve Okay, this is a curve, closed curve, and C2, C3, C4 are all the are closed curve, and C2, C3, C4, okay, like that are all is lies within the circle. Then from this theorem we will say close integration over C1 is equal to close integration over C2, where C2 is lies only within C1. Similarly, close integration over C1 f of z dz is equal to close integration over C3 fz dz, where C3 is the curve is the lies only within C1. Okay, so this is the theorem, the second theorem on Cauchy's theorem. So after that we are going to discuss about the third theorem. This is the third theorem on Cauchy's theorem. So let f of z be analytic within and on the boundary of the region bounded by the non-overlapping simple closed curve. So here is the curve. So C is the curve, okay, and C1, C2, C3 are all the different curve, and this curve all are lies within C. Okay, and these two, so all curves are the simple curve, not non-overlapping simple curve. And C1, C2 and up to Cn, so these curves are all lies in the curve C. Then close integration over C fz dz is equal to close integration over C1 fz dz plus close integration over C2 fz dz and up to close integration over Cn fz dz. Okay, this is the third theorem. After that we are going to talk about some formulas of Cauchy's theorem. So first formula, that is the proof actually. So integration over C dz by z minus alpha is equal to 0. Okay, so this integral value is 0 if C be the closed curve, you know, and z is equal to alpha, this point. Okay, so this point is lies outside the curve C, or this is actually called the exterior point of C. So let's proof of this theorem or this formula. So here is the proof. As z is equal to alpha is an exterior point of C, so from this it will give fz is equal to 1 by z minus alpha is an analytic function. This is analytic within the region C, but in a complex plane fz is equal to 1 by z minus alpha is not analytic. Why? Z is equal to alpha is actually the singular point in the complex plane, but in that region this function is analytic. Why? Because alpha is the point is lies outside the curve C, not inside. If this point is lies inside the curve C, then I will say fz is equal to 1 by z minus alpha is not analytic, and from that z is equal to alpha is equal to z is equal to alpha is a singular point. But if alpha is lies outside this curve, then I will say fz is equal to 1 by z minus alpha is an analytic function. Okay, now applying the Cauchy theorem on okay, now from Cauchy's theorem okay, hence by Cauchy's theorem the integral value of C fz dz in the circle in the curve C. Okay, hence by Cauchy's theorem integration over C fz dz is equal to 0. So you know this is the Cauchy's theorem. So Cauchy's theorem is where the function is analytic as well as the function is f dash z is continuous, then close integration C f z dz is equal to 0. So here f z is continuous function as well as analytic in the region C. Then from this we will say and then applying the Cauchy's equations, will get the value of this integration, and it will be 0. Therefore, integration over c dz by z minus alpha is equal to 0. We will continue our discussion on lecture 5 of Cauchy's theorem and Cauchy-Borchardt theorem. So here are some consequences of Cauchy's theorem. So the first formula is integration over c dz by z minus alpha, and it will be 0 if c is any simple curve and z is equal to alpha is an exterior point of c. So I have already discussed in previous section. So when the point alpha z is equal to alpha lies outside the circle or outside the curve, then from Cauchy's theorem we will get integration over c fz dz is equal to 0. That means here fz is equal to 1 by z minus alpha. That's why close integration over c dz by z minus alpha is equal to 0. So then we are going to talk about the second formula of Cauchy's consequences. So here is the formula. So integration over c dz by z minus alpha is equal to 2 pi I, or we have to prove that integration over c dz by z minus alpha is equal to 2 pi I if c is any simple curve, closed curve, and z is equal to alpha is an interior point of c. So there is a difference between the formula 1 and formula 2. So in a formula 1, where the integral value is equals to 0 and alpha is the point lies outside the circle, but in that case alpha lies inside the circle or inside the curve. So in the first formula, in the first case, where the function say f of z is equal to 1 by z minus alpha is analytic, but in that case z minus 1 by z minus alpha is not an analytic function. Why it is not analytic? Because at the point z is equal to alpha, this function is not analytic. So the function f of z is equal to at z is equal to alpha, that is undefined function. Okay, so we cannot be apply the Cauchy's theorem on this problem. Okay, so now let's prove of this theorem. So let C1 be a circle with center. So I will take a circle where, and this circle is totally lies within the curve C. Okay, so here is the circle C1, and with center at the point z is equal to alpha, and the radius say rho, and you know C1 is lies only within C. Here is the picture. So this is actually the curve. Okay, and this curve is called a arbitrary curve. Okay, and C1 is a circle, and C1 where alpha lies in C1, that is alpha is the center and rho say the radius of a circle. And I have already discussed in the previous class or previous lecture, if alpha is the center and rho is the radius of a circle, then integration of our dz by z minus alpha, so this value is equal to 2 pi I. Okay, in that circle. So here C1 is the circle, and C is the any curve, and C1 lies within C. Then applying the second theorem on Cauchy's consequences. What is the second theorem? So I have already discussed in the first section of lecture 5. If the two curves and one curve lies within the another curve, and two curves are closed curve, okay, then the integral value of the curve C is equals to the integral value on the curve C1. So that is the integral value within the curve C1 that where C1 is lies wholly within C. So these two curves, the integral value of these two curves are equal. Okay, this is the theorem or the second theorem on Cauchy's consequences. So now here f of z is equal to let us consider f of z is equal to 1 by z minus alpha. So this function is not analytic in that circle, but it is analytic in this annular region. Okay, so this is the annular region, you know, where alpha is the center of the circle, but in that region the function f of z is equal to 1 by z minus alpha is analytic. Okay, and annular region is bounded by C and C1. But integration of a C1 f of z dz is equal to, you know, this is equals to integration of a C1 1 by z minus alpha dz, but fz is equal to 1 by z minus alpha, and this value is equals to 2 pi I for the circle whose center at the point alpha and radius is rho. Okay, but in that problem we have to find integration over C dz by z minus alpha is equal to 2 pi I, not in that curve or in that circle. Okay, and from second theorem we have already seen that integration over C fz dz is equal to integration over C1 fz dz. So therefore integration over C1, and C1 is the circle, so integration over C1 1 by z minus alpha dz is equal to 2 pi I. Subsequently we will say integration over C 1 by z minus alpha dz is equal to 2 pi I. So hence the proof. So similarly we will talking about the third formula or of Cauchy's consequences. Here is the formula, integration over C dz by z minus alpha whole to the power n. So here n be any positive integer and it greater than 1 actually, and when n is equal to 1, so this integral value is equal to, you know, 2 pi I. But when n is greater than 1, that means n is equal to 2 or 3 or 4, okay, and up to infinity, then the integral value is equals to 0, and alpha is the interior point of any simple closed curve C. Okay, so but when n is equal to 1, so this integral value is equal to 2 pi I, otherwise the integral value is 0. Okay, but in that case the alpha, alpha is the interior point of any closed curve C. So as in formula 1 we can write integration over C dz by z minus alpha whole to the power n is equal to integration over C1 dz by z minus alpha whole to the power n. So here C1 is the circle. Okay, so this is actually the similar thing is happening in the previous one. So here C1 is the circle and this is actually the curve, any arbitrary curve. Okay, so here C1 is the circle lies within C, and then the equation of the circle C1 is equal to, say, z minus alpha is equal to rho. So z minus alpha is equal to rho is the circle, equation of a circle, where rho is the radius and alpha is the center of a circle. So in the previous formula I have already discussed. So if the curve C1 is lies only within C, then the two integral value are the same. Okay, the value of this integration over the circle C, over the curve C, is equals to the value of this integration over the curve C1. Okay, so on that circle C1, this is the equation of a circle, z minus alpha is equal to rho. I will take this one. So modulus of z minus alpha is equal to rho. So this is the equation of a circle. Let us consider the amplitude of z is equal to theta. Then the polar coordinate or polar form of any circle whose center at the point alpha and radius is, say, rho, is equals to z minus alpha is equal to rho into cos theta plus I sin theta, where theta is the amplitude of z minus alpha and rho is the radius of a circle. So from this we'll get rho into e to the power I theta. So e to the power I theta is equal to cos theta plus I sin theta. This is actually a known function or the complex function. So therefore from this we'll get z is equal to alpha plus rho into e to the power I theta. Okay, and theta is the amplitude of the circle, so therefore theta is varies from 0 to 2 pi. So in any circle where theta is varies from, in the first coordinate where theta is varies from 0 to pi by 2, in the second coordinate where theta is varies from pi by 2 to pi, in the third coordinate theta varies from pi to 3 pi by 2, okay, as well as in the fourth coordinate theta varies from 3 pi by 2 to 2 pi. That is, in the circle theta actually varies from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so therefore, okay, now we differentiate this one with respect to theta, or differentiate this, we will get dz is equal to, so alpha is the constant term, alpha is the center of a circle, that is, this is equals to 0, derivative of alpha is equal to 0. So dz is equal to rho into, so where I is also the constant term, so rho into I into e to the power I theta into d theta. Okay, so therefore integration over C1, so I will take this one, this integration, not this one. So here C is not, I don't know what is C. Here C is the closed curve, but we don't know is this curve is either a circle or ellipse, or therefore integration over C1 dz by z minus alpha whole to the power n. So this integration, this is actually written as integration over 0 to 2 pi, is the closed curve, so the integration will be the definite integral. Okay, so here the lower limit is 0 and the upper limit is 2 pi into, and dz is equal to I rho e to the power I theta into d theta, and z minus alpha whole to the power n is equal to, but z minus alpha is equal to rho into e to the power I theta, so z minus alpha whole to the power n is equal to rho to the power n into e to the power I n theta. Okay, after cancelling the term e to the power I theta rho, and okay, so from this we'll get this one. After integration we'll get this. So now putting the value of theta is equal to 2 pi and 0, so we'll get the integral value is 0. Okay, so therefore close integration over C1 dz by z minus alpha whole to the power n is equal to 0. So where C1 is the circle and C1 is lies only within C, therefore or subsequently integration over C, and integration over C dz by z minus alpha whole to the power n is equals to integration over C1 dz by z minus alpha whole to the power n. So consequently integration over C dz by z minus alpha whole to the power n is equal to 0 for n is equal to 2, 3, 4, okay, up to infinity. But when n is equal to 1, this integral value should be 2 pi I. Okay, otherwise when n greater than 0, greater than 1, then this integral value is equal to 0, where alpha is the point is lies inside the circle or inside the curve. So I will take some example on Cauchy's theorem or Cauchy-Borchardt theorem. So here is the example. There is the first example on Cauchy's theorem. Evaluate the integration over C z by z square minus 25 dz on the circle C such that mod of z minus 1 is equal to 2. So we are going to find this the value of this integration, where the curve is given and the curve is a circle whose center at the z minus 1 is equal to 2. Actually, this is the circle, equation of a circle. So that is, the center of the circle is actually 0, 1 and the radius is actually 2. Okay, of the circle C. Therefore, so here f is equal to, let us consider f of z is equal to z by z square minus 25 can be decomposed into the sum of partial fraction. So the first partial fraction is 1 by z minus 5 and the second one is 1 by z plus 5. So both functions are analytic within or on the circle C. Why these two functions are analytic? Because the singular point of this function, say first function is say f of z is equal to 1 by z minus 5, and similarly the second one say f of z phi of z is equal to 1 by z plus 5. So the singular point of the function f of z is equal to 5, and the singular point of phi of z is equal to minus 5. So plus 5 and minus 5 both the singular point, and this point is not lies inside the circle. Okay, z minus 1 is equal to 2. So if the point is lies inside the circle, then we'll say the function is not analytic. Okay, so that is f of z is not analytic if z is equal to plus minus 5 is lies inside the circle. But in that case, the plus 5 and minus 5 are the 2 points, 2 singular point, and this singular point is not inside the circle. Okay, so therefore from Cauchy's theorem we'll get the integration of our c z by z square minus 25 g days dz is equal to 0. This is the value of this integration. After that, we are going to take one more example on Cauchy's theorem. Here is the example. Evaluate the integration of a c 4z minus 9 by z into z minus 3 dz. But c is the closed contour containing 0 and 3 interior. So here c is the curve, so c be any arbitrary curve, and 0 and 3 are the interior point of this curve. Okay, so let us consider f of z is equal to say 4z minus 9 by z into z minus 3. So this function can be decomposed into two partial fractions. So the first fraction is 3 by z and the second one is 1 by z minus 3. So therefore the integration of our c 4z minus 9 by z into z minus 3 dz is equal to, so this integral value it should be divided into two parts. So the first part is 3 into integration of our c 1 by z minus 0 dz, and the second part is integration of our c 1 by z minus 3 into dz. Or if we take integration on both sides, we will get this one. Okay, so you know the integration of our c 1 by z minus 0 into dz. What is the value of this integration? When the points is lies inside the circle, so this integral value from the second consequences, the second formula already discussed in previous slide. When the point, that is the singular point, is lies in inside the curve, then 1 by z minus alpha is equal to alpha dz is equal to 2 pi I. But if the point is lies outside the curve, then from Cauchy's theorem the integral value it should be 0. So here the 2 points 0 and 3 are interior point. So this integral value is not 0. So this is not a analytic function actually. So 1 by z minus 0, that is 1 by z, is not analytic. So at the point z is equal to 0, this function is undefined. Why? So 0 is the point is lies inside the circle. So this is not an analytic. So from the second consequences of Cauchy's theorem, this integral value it should be 2 pi I. Okay, so 3 into 2 pi I, and similarly 1 by z minus 3 dz is also 2 pi I. Okay, so similar same thing will happen in the second integration. So this integral value is also 2 pi I. So that is 3 into 2 pi I plus 2 pi I is equal to 8 pi I. Take one more example on Cauchy's theorem. So here is the example. So integration of our c 2z plus 1 by z into 2z plus I whole square dz. So find the value of this integration on the circle, but the circle is modulo of z is equal to 1. That means the center of the circle is 0, 0, that is at the origin, and radius is 1. Okay, so here 2z plus 1 by z into 2z plus I whole square. So this is actually say f of z. This is the function. So this function can be decomposed into the sum of the partial fraction. So there are three partial fractions. So first one is after calculating we'll get this one. Okay. So first one is minus 1 by z, and the second one is 2 by 2z plus I, as well as third one I have found 2 into 1 plus I by 2z plus I whole square. Okay. So after decomposed we'll get this partial fraction. Okay. So now when 2z plus I is equal to 0, from this we'll get z is equal to minus I by 2, that is 0 minus I by 2. So 0 minus I by 2 is the point. What is the coordinate of this point? The coordinate of this point is 0 comma minus half. Okay. So this point is lies within the circle C. Because the radius of the circle is 1 and center at the point 0 comma 0, so 0 comma minus half is the point is lies in that circle. Okay. Therefore, close integration over C dz by 2z plus I whole square, and it should be written as 1 by 4 into integration over C dz by z plus I by 2 whole square. When we common 2 from denominator, we'll get this one. Okay. So z plus I by 2 whole square. And you know, from the third consequences of Cauchy's theorem, we'll get integration over C dz by z minus alpha whole to the power 2 or whole to the power n, where n be any positive number is greater than 0, greater than 1, then the integral value is 0. Thing happen in this in that problem. So this integral value should be 0. So now next we are going to talk about the integral value, or we'll discuss about the integral value of dz by 2z plus I. So here we common 2 on the denominator, we'll get 1 by 2 into C, close integration over C dz by z plus I by 2. Okay. So from the second consequences or second theorem on Cauchy's consequences, we'll get, so this value is equals to 1 by 2 into 2 pi I. So here n is equal to 1 actually. So if n is greater than 0, then this integral value is 0. Okay. And this point is lies inside the circle or inside the curve. So from this we'll get the value of this integration, and it will be pi into I. And the third integration, this one is actually integration over C dz by z, and you know this value is from the second consequences we'll get the value of this, and this value of this integration is 2 pi I. And you know z is equal to 0 is the point is lies inside the circle. If the point 0 is lies outside this circle, then we'll say the integral value is 0. After if we apply the Cauchy's theorem, we'll get the value of 0. But in that case where 0 is not lies outside the circle, is lies inside the circle, therefore from second consequences or the second formula of Cauchy's consequences, we'll get the value is 2 pi I. So therefore integration over C 2z plus 1 by z into 2z plus I whole square. So from this we'll get minus integration over C dz by 2. So now taking integration on both sides, we'll get this one. So minus 1 integration over C dz by z plus integration over C dz by 2z plus I plus 2 into I plus 1 into integration over C dz by 2z plus I whole square. So this integral value is 0. I have already discussed. And the second integration is pi I, value of the second integration, and the value of the first integration is 2 pi I. So from this we'll get the value of this integration, and it will be 0. Okay, after cancelling the term 2 pi I and minus 2 pi I. But the third term is actually 0. So from after cancelling the first and second term, and so the value of this integration, and it should be 0. So I'll take the fourth example on Cauchy's theorem. So here is the example. So evaluate integration over C dz by z into z minus 1, where C is the circle, modulus of z is equal to 3. So modulus of z is equal to 3, this is actually the circle where center at the point 0, 0 and radius is 3. This is the, so look at the picture where this is actually the circle, and C is the circle where 0, 0 is the center and 3 is the radius of the circle. Okay, so okay, now z into z minus 1 is equal to 0, and from this we will get z is equal to 0 and z is equal to 1. So z is equal to 0 and z is equal to 1. So these 2 points are lies inside the circle. Okay, now let f of z is equal to z1 by z into z minus 1, and can be decomposed into 2 parts. So the first part is a by z and the second part is b by z minus 1. So from this we will get the value of z a and value of b. So if we put z is equal to 0 in that section, we will get the value of a, and when we put z is equal to 1 in this equation, we will get the value of b. So here is the value of a, and a is equal to minus 1 and b is equal to plus 1. So therefore 1 by z into z minus 1, this it can be expressed as minus 1 by z plus 1 by z minus 1. So therefore we'll take integration on both sides. We'll get integration over c dz by z into z minus 1 is equal to minus integration over c dz by z plus integration over c dz by z minus 1. So here the points z is equal to 0 and z is equal to 1 lies inside the circle. So from this we cannot be apply the Cauchy's theorem, but we can apply the Cauchy's consequences of Cauchy's theorem. So you know, if the points z is equal to 0 and z is equal to 1 is lies outside the circle, then we'll say this integral value is 0 as well as this integral value is 0, applying the Cauchy's theorem. But here we can apply the Cauchy's consequences actually. So integration over c dz by z is equal to the value of this integration, where 0 is the point is lies inside the circle, so it should be 2 pi I, that is minus of integration over c dz by z is equal to minus 2 pi I. And similarly same thing happen in the second integration, integration over c dz by z minus 1, and it should be 2 pi I also. Okay, so therefore integration over c dz by z into z minus 1 is equals to minus 2 pi I plus 2 pi I. So after cancelling the term 2 pi I and minus 2 pi I, we will get the value of this integration, and the value of this integration is 0. Another example of Cauchy's theorem, evaluate integration over c z minus 3 by z square plus 2z plus 5 dz, where c is the circle, modulus of z is equal to 1. So this is the circle where the center at the point 0, 0 and radius is 1. Okay, so from denominator we'll get z square plus 2z plus 5 is the denominator. From this we'll get the 2 factors. Okay, so the first factor is z plus 1 plus 2i, and the second factor is z plus 1 minus 2i. So therefore z minus 3 by z square plus 2z plus 5 can be expressed as z minus 3 by z plus 1 plus 2i into z plus 1 minus 2i. So now this expression can be decomposed into the sum of the 2 partial fraction. So the first fraction is z plus 1 plus 2i, and the second fraction is z plus 1 minus 2i. Okay, now applying the partial fraction, when we put z is equal to minus 1 plus 2i, we will get the value of b, and the value of b is equal to this 1 by 2 plus I. And when we put z is equal to minus 1 minus 2i, So from this we will get the value of a, and the value of a by 2 minus I. From this the given function can be expressed as two partial fraction. So the first fraction is 1 by 2 minus I by z plus I plus 2I, and the second one is 1 by 2 plus I by z plus 1 minus 2I. Okay, now taking integration on both sides, we will get this one. Okay, so here minus 1 minus 2I is the point is lies outside the circle. This point is lies outside the circle. So if the point is lies outside the circle, hence by Cauchy's theorem this integral value is 0, as well as z is equal to minus 1 plus 2I. This point is also lies outside the circle. Why its point is lies outside the circle? The coordinate of this point is minus 1 comma 2. So this, and the circle is whose center at the point 0 comma 0 and radius is 1. Okay, so minus 1 plus 2I is the point is lies outside the circle, as well as minus 1 comma minus 2I is the point is lies outside the circle. When this point is lies outside the circle, then by Cauchy's theorem this function is analytic. Okay, and if the function is analytic inside the circle, then from of this integration is 0. As well as when z is equal to minus 1 plus 2I is a point is lies outside the circle, and from Cauchy's theorem the same thing will happen in this integration actually. So it will be also 0. Therefore the integration over C, the given integration is equal to the given integral value is equal to 0. So I'll stop today's lecture. Thank you.